Tonight, new scrutiny on the Trump administration's plans for FEMA as hurricane season begins. Last year, there were 24 major weather and climate-related disasters in the United States, each of which cost more than $1 billion in damages. Instead of preparing for this, Donald Trump is trying to defund FEMA. A judge recently blocking the administration from diverting $4 billion away from disaster prevention funds, as Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem have both called for completely eliminating FEMA. It comes as FEMA workers have been reassigned to work for ICE during hurricane season. All of this while Donald Trump plays politics with life and death matters, approving disaster aid for devastating flood in deep red Texas and rejecting aid requests for states with Democratic governors, including Maryland, Washington State, and North Carolina, where residents in remote, rural areas of the state are still recovering from the devastation of Hurricane Helene. Joining me now to discuss this is Andrew Aden, a former aide to civil rights icon Congressman John Lewis. Aden also co-authored Lewis's graphic novel memoir called March. Now he's working on the Appalachia Comics Project, raising awareness by creating a graphic history of Hurricane Helene through partnerships with local artists. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us this evening on The Beat. Look, everyone knows that I'm a comic book fan, and I find them to be a great way to communicate. But tell us a little bit about this Appalachia Project. You had a write-up in Forbes talking about how this is uplifting Appalachia and also helping with Hurricane Helene.
Yeah, we took a terrible blow. And what scared me the most is once we got back online, because remember, we were completely cut off from the rest of the world for almost a week. No phone, no internet, no television. We get back online and we see so much misinformation going around on the internet. And part of what we're trying to do is tell the story through comics. We're trying to give survivors like myself, my neighbors, my friends and colleagues, the opportunity to write comics about their experiences during Helene so that people who didn't get the full truth understand what happened, and that people from Appalachia have the opportunity to give voice to their story. I mean, you know, what we're dealing with out here is unprecedented still, and we're not getting the help we need. And the way we're doing this is that the survivors who write their comics, who write their stories, they get paid as the writers. And a lot of my colleagues who make comics for a living, they're donating their time and they're giving their labor free so that these survivors can get a little bit of help.
Andrew, first off, that's amazing work and gives people an opportunity to also make money talking about what they've suffered from. I want to point out here, the Trump administration, just as recently as last Friday, the Trump administration is delaying aid on hundreds of already approved projects in North Carolina. Are people in North Carolina aware of this? Are voters there aware of the fact that this administration that some of them voted for is now denying them the aid that they need to recover from these natural disasters?
You know, I think some people are aware, but I don't think they have any idea the scope of it. I mean, I saw somewhere recently that only 6% of the cost of the disaster has been covered by the federal government. And if I recall from my days on Capitol Hill, that was usually somewhere between 50 and 70% of the cost covered by the federal government. So the gap we're talking about is tens of billions of dollars. And we're just starting to feel this in different ways. I mean, for instance, out here in Edneyville, where I live, you know, this is the Apple Valley. We're all farmers, and we have something called the debris removal program, and it was supposed to clear debris around waterways and homes and structures that could be damaged because a tree is fallen but hasn't fallen all the way or something like that. When they came out to actually do it, we were informed that less was covered, that the federal government had mandated a change and that not all of the debris would be removed. And this complicates things in several ways. One, you've got people who have these piles and piles of drying and rotting wood that's going to be fuel come fire season. And two, you've got waterways that are going to be blocked. So the next time we have a flood or a storm, the floods are going to be even worse. These are investments that should be made now to prevent further damage in the future, but they're cutting back and they're just creating a problem that's going to get even worse.
Andrew, thank you so much for the work you do creatively and what you're doing in the community in North Carolina. Appreciate you coming on The Beat tonight.
No, thanks for having me, Jason. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too.